Greetings, Leader, Run Blog Run. This is Athletics Chat 2 Epilogue. We had time with our friend again, Stuart Wire from across the pond, and we covered several topics. Started out with a salute to Jesse Owens, today's 85th anniversary. That's it. May 25th, 1935. He set 4 world records in 45 minutes. He equaled the 100-yard dash of 9.4. He went 8.13 meters in the long jump. A record of state. It was a world record at the time. His school record wasn't broken until a couple years ago. Pretty amazing, huh? Then he did a 200, 220-yard straight in 20.06, and then he went 22.6 in the 220-yard hurdles. Pretty impressive afternoon. And there's a piece up on RunBlogRun we linked to from Chris Turner, the director of Athletics Heritage at World Athletics in Monaco. And as some of you know, Chris Turner is a huge track geek. He was the press manager for World Athletics for a long time. Before that, he was a freelance journalist. I met him back in 1995. We geeked out on Finnish javelins and stuff. And a few years ago, he was trying to get me to go to the Finn versus Sweden event. And I'm going to have to take him up on that again because I want to see. That's one of the oldest meets in the world and a great tradition with Finns and Swedes duking it out, and a lot of athletes doing 3 or 4 events. Kind of cool. But today, Stuart and I talked about a few things. We talked about relay funding in the UK, which is done differently than in the US. They have a team, I think it's about 24 men and women that are funded for the relay teams, and they have to go to all the relay camps. They have to go to the scheduled events. And athletes such as Reese Prescott, the top sprinter last year, weren't included in that because he said it affected his ability to win an individual medal. UK has done pretty darn well in the 4x1 and the 4x4 in the past 4 or 5 years. So they have a system that seems to work. We also talked about the challenges of having coaches and how it's different in the UK and in the US. In the US, most athletes have a coach as a high schooler, then they have a different coach in college. They may keep the same coach as a pro. They may not have a coach, or they may go to a professional coach if they're an elite athlete. In the UK, a lot of people stay with the same coaches. Dean Asher-Smith, for example, has had the same coach, John Blackie, since she was about 11 years old. And John's pretty special in that he is known for celebrating the successes of a young age grouper as well as his European double champion. And I think that's kind of cool. Stuart and I also tried to solve a few other problems today. Let's see. We talked about how Tokyo cannot afford to have the Olympics, but how do we believe it will be? Right now, I see it as this huge Petri dish with 10,000 athletes and 11,000 media people. And even if you cut that down, you're going to just send the disease everywhere. So how do you do this? And we chuckled a little bit about going to World Indoor Champs in China next year. And I said, well, I'll just stay I'll be quarantined perhaps since I can stay for the 2022 Olympics too. I think everything up till 2024, maybe past then, is going to be affected. This is changing our life. It's not a communist plot. It's not something from aliens. There are real issues. And you have to dig a little bit to get to the truth. That's the scary thing right now. And that's really difficult. And I ask people to stay safe, to keep social distancing, to wash your hands, wear a mask in closed areas, outside, wear a mask when you're around a crowd. Just be careful. And it's not so much you getting sick, it's the people around you too. And people like me, I'm a poster child. So I've got to be extra careful. I'm in a lovely little small town in Wisconsin. I'm flying out to California in a few days, and I'm going to have to be by myself a lot. So, c'est la vie. Let's get back to the Olympics and stop my pontificating. So we talked about whether the Olympics can actually be held next year. I think that both the LOC spokesperson, John Coates, and Thomas Bach, I call him the Pope of the Olympics, the IOC president, were very clear this week that if it's not going to happen in 2021, Tokyo Olympics is probably not going to happen. And that's sad because I think they would have hosted a magnificent Olympics, but there's much more to it than this. This is life and death for a lot of people. And if you take just the media and the athletes, bring them into Tokyo, and then send them back out again, you're going to have something wrong unless we have a vaccine. And let's keep our thoughts and prayers together. I heard today on The Guardian from The Guardian that American pharmaceutical companies turned down a proposal from European Union to even develop a vaccine back in 2017. So a lot of politics, a lot of craziness, a lot of money, unfortunately. And all I can think of is my grandfather, who was 19, actually more than 19. God, what was he? Oh, he was 26 in 1918. And when he on his way back from World War I, he contracted the Spanish influenza, and he was in a boat or in a ship for about 4 or 5 weeks. And it was something he remembered 7 years later when he told me the story. I was 15 years old, just listening to everything my grandpa said. And it affected him. And these are going to be things that you're going to be telling your families for a long time to come. So please be careful. Enjoy athletics. Where's it going to go? I applaud World Athletics, as does Stuart, for planning a season. Stuart's been asking athletes if they think it's going to happen or not. Some say they can't see how it can happen. Others say they hope some meets do go on. I do know right now that Stuart will not be able to cover Oslo live because he can't even leave the UK, and there's no flights to Oslo from where he's at. So that's the challenge too. So we're going to have to see how this thing plays out. But this was another fun week with Athletics Chat 2. I thank you for watching and listening to the thoughtful BOMOs from Stuart Weir to my questions, and of course my pontificating. Stay safe, exercise, love your families, talk to people every day. It's really important. Eat well, wash your hands for 20 seconds, okay? And keep your exercise going, but do it safely. Larry Eater, RunBlogRun, signing off.